Commissioners are making their way to the Assembly Hall. I hope everybody's had a good Tuesday so far. And here we are. I think today is the 21st of February. That's right. This month is already short and is headed toward a quick end. So we're, as we say all the time in Rockdale County, we're rocking and rolling. And I want to say, y'all give the deputy a round of applause because he took me. I'm already a target. He took me off of absolute. Yeah. I want to give you a round of applause. That door was wide open. CJ, I could see all the way through the old Coca-Cola building across the street. And I said, boy, if a sniper was in there as dark as I am, he'd be able to just zoom right in on me and just get me without any mistake at all. So the deputy has saved the day. Give another round of applause. And we were just talking real good things about you, Commissioner. You walked in right on time. We got you a new chair. See the new chair? Absolutely. Give a thumbs up to PR for getting new chairs. There you go. Absolutely. We're waiting on Commissioner Washington, and we'll get started here.
Does this chair lift up?
That chair will lift up, fold down. It will recline. It'll spin you around too. It's a high tech. There you go. Those other chairs, I found out about the new chairs early this morning, Narendra, and those other chairs that had been here, well, they had been here since 1978. And that was, see, that's why you were hearing the squeaky sound. And mine last year, Dr. Cynthia, it actually got stuck. I leaned back and I couldn't move again, Chief Kelly. I couldn't move another further, as they would say. I just got stuck. And Director Redmond, you've sat in one of those old chairs before. You remember, but you seemed like you were really comfortable sitting in that thing. Remind you. Well, we appreciate the leadership of public relations and getting the new, because ergonomics is the word, ergonomics, absolutely. You're gonna have to sit here as long as we have to sit here sometimes, Director Mims, and when you add the physical aspect connected to the mental capacity, it can be quite stressful. So when Director Hammer, are you following me? Okay. So when that is moving the right way, you can. This thing feels good too. Chief Sanders, how's your chair? Okay.
Get this fixed right.
You got to get it fixed right. She's got to get hers.
My feet are kind of dangling.
She's got the commissioner's off the ground. She's kind of like a kid in the high chair over here. If you can imagine that, her feet are dangling, CG. Oh, we're waiting on Commissioner Washington, and we'll be getting started here in just a second. Did you sign these already, Commissioner?
No. Who I hear the door?
There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a round of applause. Come on in, Commissioner. We were just talking about the new chairs that you have, and you'll be able to relax and recline.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Now that chair, caution yourself, because that chair will recline.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me.
Yeah, I don't want you laying back like you're in a 7-8 Cadillac. You know, just be careful. Don't go all the way back. Deputy, you remember the 7-8 Cadillacs? You do?
With the
Oh, wow.
with the
Okay.
gangster white
With a
wall,
gangster white wall.
TV antenna.
Right. Now, I didn't
in
need
the
you to
back.
sing it. I didn't need you to sing it.
He
Just,
started.
just
He started.
give it a little bit, just a little bit.
Yes.
Commissioner, are you ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open our meeting and call our meeting to order this afternoon. Good evening, everyone,
Good evening.
and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, February the 21st, 2023. Is shortly after the 6 p.m. hour, and we're here at 901 Main Street in the heart of Old Town Conyers. We're calling our meeting to order. This morning, well, this evening, should I say, thank you. This evening, we're having special recognition and presentation from Fire Training Complex, the master plan, and we've got the Jericho Design Group. I think Director Hammer is going to be leading that presentation. Director Hammer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman, Commissioners. Tonight, other than the many routine things, we have an exciting item to present to you. The Fire Training Complex Master Plan. We've been working on this for many decades probably, but at least 10 years that I can remember. And we began planning the funding for it back in 2015 in preparation for the 2017 SPLOST. And we engaged Jericho Design Group last year to not only design the first phase, but also a 20-year build-out of the entire complex. So we spent many months of planning, and we won't try to do an overview of all of that, but Doug Shaw, is here to give an overview of the 20-year plan, and then hit the phase one, and then hopefully we can convince Chief Mack to come up and say a few words as well.
Outstanding.
So,
Outstanding.
Doug Shaw.
That's going to take a lot to get you back.
Well, it's a pleasure to be before the board again, and I wouldn't come here without a video, so we're going to be seeing a video really early here so that we can get a sense of the full master plan, and then we'll talk about phase one.
Sounds good.
All right, so if you look at your screens, there we go. All right, here we are coming into the complex, and it is a big piece of land, so there is going to be a long driveway to get up into the big into the property.
And where will the property be?
It's that.
Intersection of 212 and Smyrna.
Okay, Smyrna. That's what I didn't know. I need 212. Right. All right. So as part of the master plan, you see a training facility. This would have classrooms. They would have locker rooms. It would have administration areas associated with supporting the campus. And you see a brick building sitting there. What this shed outside is like a teaching shed. As part of the campus, you will have a physical training component, so there'll be an outdoor training exercise area as part of the master plan. You see a burn building up there with the fire trucks around it, and then you do see a warehouse where they're going to have storage for several items as well as to support the whole campus. So it is a complete, if you will, fire training campus where you'll be able to train your recruits, you'll be able to attract your recruits, and make sure that you got a very high functioning force going into the 21st century or longer.
Yes.
All right, so these are some things we're going to talk about tonight: the program, the site plan, the floor plans, renderings, and cost estimates. So if you, I don't know who's working.
They're listening. They're listening.
Okay. All right, so this is the site. You see the size of it, and if I had a pointer, I would show you there's like a little neck to get into the site, but it is, once you're into the site, there's 70-something acres, is that correct? And so it's got a large site which will allow more things to happen on the site in the future from an overall site master plan, but the initial item is the fire training complex. And you see the components that were just described in the video labeled by numbers there on this area. And this is what we're going to do in phase one. So phase one will incorporate really some of the most important things they need to get going from a fire training facility standpoint. The burn building is very important for training, active training. You're also going to have the physical training areas, the teaching shed, and some things to do with driving the fire vehicles themselves. So it is a really important part of it. I'm not saying it's the most important, because when you get the second phase in there, which is going to be the actual training facility itself, the building, you'll have those classrooms, those locker administration areas, and they will really have a complete campus at that point. But right now, phase one is slated for those particular items. All right, and so we've got some more just 3D images. So one of the biggest items on phase one is the burn tower. Obviously, that's a training facility. The fire department has given me specific specs. They've done a lot of research on what they want from this building, and so we're going to integrate that into the complex. And you see the teaching shed, and of course, we're going to have some restrooms out there. So that's what that little smaller building is on the renderings. All right, so you see this is the cost estimate for phase one. We're looking at about roughly $2 million with all the pieces and parts at this point. And we are in the process right now of surveying the site. We actually did a first survey, found some water, so we're doing some additional surveys. So we placed the facility in a place on the site that makes sense from a long-term standpoint.
Very good.
Thank you.
So we're really being mindful of how this piece of property is utilized and make sure it's getting its best use going forward.
Good.
All right, and that's it in a nutshell. I'm going to give it over to the most important person here in the room, at least as it relates to this presentation. We'll let the chief take it from here.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Chief Mack.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Madam Commissioners.
Good evening.
Good
That's
evening.
right. Coming into my 6th year, this is something been in the making for that length of time. So really excited that it's coming together. One of the main things, we talk about ISO, which is your insurance office rating. That is important as far as homeowners insurance. It has the power to affect that insurance, or you could even be denied. So the better our ISO rating is, the better it provides insurance premiums for our homeowners. Also, bringing this together, just the other day we have a recruits class. We have about 35 recruits or so. We're having to go down to social circle for them to do their fire training. There is not a fire burning facility closer than social circle in this area. So whereas we'll now have our own facility, that means we'll also be able to attract other surrounding areas to be able to come and get their training as well. So this training complex goes along really well. Some people say, well, why aren't you getting the building first? Well, we have a training building. And when you talk about ISO ratings, everything that has to be on one place. So we have a training building that we can use for right now. And now we're looking to get the burn tower, we get the pumping areas, we get the driving pads, and together, when we come back for our new ISO rating, we're now at the 3 up under then, the Director Morgan, but Fire Chief Morgan at the time, we went from a 10 down to a 3. Now we're looking to get to a 2.
Yeah.
This
Good.
fire training complex gets us to that 2, and that's huge. So really thankful, really appreciate Doug, Director Hammer, for all the hard work. Madam Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, we really appreciate you, and we're looking forward to this building coming together.
Well, Chief, hats off to you and former Fire Chief Dan Morgan and the vision and the seeds that were planted some time ago when Doug got up to talk about, well, I think it was Director Hammer that talked about how long this has been in the process, Mill Commissioners, in terms of us having this in Rockdale. But one of the things that Commissioners Chief Mack pointed out, one of the significant things is that we will now become somewhat of a centralized location for other municipalities and counties who have fire department and fire service to come and utilize our burn and training center. I hear economic development all over that.
I was just
It's
getting
just
ready to say
economic
that.
development all over that, because some of that training is going to take place at night. They got to eat in Rockdale County. They're going to spend some money in Rockdale County. There's an opportunity to put us on the map. I think with the leadership, there's also the ability to serve as a pilot institution for so many other organizations or agencies, should I say, in the metro area. Then the congestion of not having the congestion of being out here in Rockdale County versus being in the heart of the metro area. Some people may elect to come to Rockdale because they don't want the headache of driving. You'd imagine driving that apparatus, if they're bringing the apparatus to train with all the way into Atlanta versus bringing it here to Smyrna Road and 212. So that's really, really good. Commissioners, the other thing I have to add is that anytime we open up, such in the case of Fire Station number 10 on the north side of Rockdale County, that breathes new life in terms of a county structure inside on that area of the community. It's a safety structure for one thing, that you're going to not only have fire apparatus there and medical people that can respond to needs in that area, sheriff's deputies, they stop by the fire department all the time. You have that, it becomes an unofficial substation for law enforcement as well. We're doing the same thing now at Smyrna Road and 212. Fire Training Center. It's gonna become a hub, a gathering space for public safety. That gives more presence. I don't know who would want a fire department, a fire station, or police substation near around their subdivision. I know I certainly would. It just makes you feel better having that public safety component right there in your area. This is a big deal for Rockdale County. And again, I give the credit to all of those who have planted the seed and seen this. It's taken us a long time to get to a lot of projects in Rockdale County, but we're here. We started from the bottom.
Now we're here.
Now we're here. Commissioner Washington, what do you think?
Well, you've said most of it. But I do, I said a couple of years ago that I didn't see the reason why, with the talent that we have for this fire department, that we couldn't be a go-to fire mecca in the state of Georgia, with the leadership that we have, with and having this facility would put us right on the map in the center of it. Plus, like you said, for economic development, that helps all the way around. So kudos to you, Chief, for seeing this through. Thank you, Director Morgan, for planting the seeds, and I'm so excited that we have this opportunity. And I'm loving going from a 10 to a 2. We're at Kobe stage, right under Jordan, right.
Commissioner?
So I'm also really excited about it. I know we've been talking about this ever since I took office in 2015. And so, it's one of those things where you talk about it, and you talk about it, and you talk about it, and then it finally gels, because it takes time to get everything in place. And so I'm really excited about it. But I wanted to tell you, we had a medical emergency at my house this past Saturday, and the guys that showed up were so good. They were really good.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and I'm sure they're listening, and I will pass that along.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Chief Mack, thank you. Guys, let's give all this a round of applause. I mean, this is really... Public safety has been and will remain the top priority in Rockdale County, and we cannot put a price on the safety of our residents and making sure that our public safety professionals have the tools and the resources they need to be able to effectively and efficiently get the job done. Duck Shaw, thank you for being out here and coming out and representing Jericho and talking about this product. I really can hear the passion. It's not just a contract or an agreement with Rockdale County. I can tell that you all are excited about putting this project here in Rockdale County. Thank you so much. Commissioners, Executive Director Roach, I want to just venture off just a tad bit. I've asked Commissioner Washington if she would do the honor, as we just celebrated yesterday was President's Day. And I've asked her if she would highlight the longest living president, and who happens to be a Georgia resident. Commissioner Washington.
Thank you. So, me, and I get to present, so I did a PowerPoint. My staff, Andre, helped put this together. Well, he did most of it, so give credit where credit's due.
Should we go ahead and give Andre a round of applause?
Please do.
It's not like having good staff. Ooh. Absolutely.
Because I don't know where we would have been today with this. Hold on, and I can't see that far, so I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. So give me 1 second. Oh, I don't have internet in here. Well, we're going to try to we'll see how good this laser surgery is today. So, as the chair has said, this is a tribute to the legacy of Jimmy Carter. And I learned so much going through this that I didn't know. Next slide, please. I'm still trying to pull this up. So his slogan was a leader for change. He was born in 1924 to a mother who was a registered nurse, and his father was a local businessman who was James Earl Carter Jr. In rural Plains, Georgia. I think everybody knows that he's from Plains. Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you. He was raised on the family peanut farm with 3 siblings, 1 brother and 2 sisters. He was gifted in academics and sports. He was the very first president born in a hospital. Fun fact.
Wow.
Wow.
Schooling and careers. After graduating from high school, he attended the Georgia Southwestern College and eventually the Georgia Institute of Technology. He also graduated from the Naval Academy in 1946. Before his presidency, Carter served in the Navy working on one of the U.S.'s first nuclear submarine projects. He was a peanut farmer, Sunday school teacher, and the 76th governor of the state of Georgia in 1971. His peacekeeping and humanitarian efforts since he left office have made Carter renowned as one of the most successful ex-presidents in American history. Before becoming president, under the command of Admiral Hyman G. Rickover, he served as a naval officer for 7 years in the nuclear submarine program. Did y'all know that?
I didn't know that.
Me neither. When his father died, Carter went to work on his family's farm. He also served as a Georgia state senator from 1963 to 1967. I'm gonna put my own insert in here. He actually started his political career on the school board, and when I think the senator passed away that was in his jurisdiction, he jumped at that because he said serving on the school board was just too hard. I was somewhere where he made that speech. I don't remember where, but I thought that was cute. He first became involved in public service in 1962, which during this time President Carter manifested his opposition to racial segregation, supported the growing civil rights movement, and became an activist within the Democratic Party. As a dark horse candidate not well known outside of Georgia, Carter won the 1976 Democratic presidential nomination and narrowly defeated incumbent Republican President Gerald Ford in the 1976 United States presidential election. He was elected to office in November of 1976 at the age of 52.
Wow.
President Carter's policies. Domestic. President Carter tried to cut inflation and lower unemployment by jawboning large corporations to keep their prices low. The energy crisis of 1979 made matters worse as Middle East oil companies began to dramatically increase prices of oil in the United States. Foreign. President Carter had a firm belief against any human rights violations and refused to get involved militarily. Foreign events. These foreign events included the Panama Canal, Camp David Accords, the Soviet Union, China, and the Iran hostage crisis. Post-presidency, 1981 to the present. Diplomacy has been a large part of Carter's post-presidency. These diplomatic efforts began in the Middle East with a September 1981 meeting with Prime Minister of Israel, McEnum. Thank you, I knew Capitol Hill would know. Say it again, Capitol Hill. McEnum Benin. And a March 1983 tour of Egypt that included meeting with members of the Palestine Liberation Organization. In 1994, President Bill Clinton sought Carter's assistance in a North Korea peace mission, during which Carter negotiated and understanding with Kim Tu-sung. Carter went on to outline a treaty with Kim, which he announced to CNN without the consent of the Clinton administration to spur American action. That sounds like something somebody I know would do. President Carter received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for his efforts brokering a deal with Kim Tu-sung of North Korea in 1994 during the Clinton's presidency. He builds homes with Habitat for Humanity, and his works with the Carter Center have helped nearly eradicate the guinea worm disease in Africa. He has authored books and the Bible. I don't think you authored the Bible. On the Bible, the American Revolution and Middle East and foreign diplomacy. In 1991, Carter was made an honorary member of Phi Beta Kappa at Kansas State University and was elected to the American Philosophical Society. 7 years earlier, the U.S. Navy named the third and last Seawolf-class submarine, honoring Carter and his service as a submarine officer. He also received the United Nations Prize in the field of human rights, given in honor of human rights achievements, and the Hoover Medal, recognizing engineers who have contributed to global causes. In 2009, the Southern Field Airport in Americus, Georgia, was renamed the Jimmy Carter Regional Airport. Carter's Presidential Center. So I can't see all the fun. Could you go to the next slide, please? President Carter has successfully panned for gold in northern Georgia. He was supposedly attacked by a rabbit on a fishing trip in Georgia in 1979. President Harry Truman was Carter's favorite president. Carter told The Guardian in 2011 that he admired Truman for not trying to profit off of his presidency. In 1998, at 98, he is the longest serving president in U.S. history since the death of G.W. Bush in 2018. He and his wife, Rosalind Smith, celebrate 75 years of marriage.
Wow.
And his quote, his mantra, for lack of better words, is, "I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I can, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have, to try to make a difference." President Jimmy Carter.
Commissioner Williams, would you like to add anything about President Carter?
Well, you know, I remember the gas crisis because I was in college. You guys were babies, or if you were even around.
Yeah, I was a baby.
It was a difficult presidency for him because he had a lot of things. The inflation rate was hadn't been that bad till this last year. It was really difficult to try to buy a house or do anything like that. But I think his legacy is what he has done since he was president. Mm-hmm. And that, I know we went to Plains, Georgia a few years ago, and you just really got a sense of, you know, what he was like and the people that lived there and how he was just one of the people. And so thank you for doing that.
Well,
preparing that, Commissioner Washington.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Washington, for leading that. Again, yesterday was President's Day, And as many of you all know, former President Jimmy Carter is now in hospice care. So we are asking that you would keep he and his family in prayer, particularly during this time. When we think about the impact that he's had across the country and on the state of Georgia, soon Georgia will be at the spotlight of Jimmy Carter one more time. So I think it just kind of fell the right space. Here we are at President's Day and all of what's happening with the former president. So I wanted to take a moment and
Thank you for asking me to.
Yes, ma'am.
To do that. I
Yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
that.
And thank you to Andre, and thank you for Sean for coming
Right,
in. And absolutely. Listen, we want to move forward now with the agenda review, commissioners and Executive Director Rutledge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we are on to the agenda review for next Tuesday's agenda, and I'll go ahead and start. And Chairman and Commissioners, if it pleases you, I will just keep reading until I'm interrupted.
Sounds good.
All right. So item 2023-38 is with Yancey Brothers Company through the General Services Department for the Recycling Center. This is for the large equipment lease, $129,936 yearly. This is for 60 months, and it's host funded. This is submitted for ratification. Item 39 is with Atlas Technical Consultants through the RDOT Department for Project Management and SPLAST projects. This is change order number 7 to contract 2020-23. This is an additional $72,000 and to extend the contract through June 30th, 2023. This is SPLAST funded and submitted for ratification. Item 40 is with Cartograph Systems LLC through the RDOT Department. This is for the Cartograph Systems, and it's change order number 1 to contract 2022-222. This is to add terms and conditions that were left out of the original proposal and is submitted for ratification. Item 41 is with ER Snell Contractor through the RDOT Department. This is for the Sigmund Road Widening Phase 2. This is change order number 3 to contract 2021-35. It's an additional $58,792.32. This is SPLAST funded and submitted for ratification. Item 42 is with Pittman Construction Company through the RDOT Department. This is for the SPLAST 4A resurfacing project. This is change order number 2 to contract 2022-61. It's an additional $1,334,251.73. This adds Gees Mill Road and Bayberry Way to the resurfacing project limits. This is SPLAST funded and submitted for ratification. Item 43 is with Yancey Brothers Company through the RDOT Department. This is for the large equipment lease, the asphalt paver base. It's $7,452 per month for 36 months with a total annual cost of $89,424. This is host funded and submitted for ratification. Item 44 is with Yancey Brothers Company through the RDOT Department. This is for the large equipment lease. This is for heavy equipment for 6 pieces in the amount of $28,277 per month. This is for 60 months, and the total for the year is $339,324, and this is host funded and submitted for ratification. Item 45 is with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council through the Sheriff's Office. This is for FY20 Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program. It's an additional amount of $15,000, making the total grant amount $32,500. This is change order number 3. This is change order number 1 to contract 2022-03 and submitted for ratification. Item 46 is with Axon Enterprise to the Sheriff's Office. This is for the Axon Enterprise package deal. These are upgrades on body-worn cameras and fleet car cameras. The contract amount is $2,212,907. This is a 5-year contract and submitted for ratification. Item 47 is with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council through the Superior Court. This is for the Emergency Housing Award in the amount of $26,000, and it's submitted for ratification.
Can anyone elaborate on that one? The Emergency Housing Award, what is it? Do we have anybody present that knows anything about what this one's about?
Let's see. I don't think we have a representative from the Superior Court here tonight.
No, but it has to do with in terms of rapid housing, it means getting them into a housing situation. Typically, they have contracts with different hotels
Okay.
in the area.
Okay.
And a few apartment complexes where the landlords have agreed to take those with criminal histories.
Okay.
So that's what it's used for.
Okay, cuts through the chase and the red tape of the difficulty when you have a criminal background.
Right.
Commissioner, I needed you to say that. I needed someone to say that out loud because folks watching and listening to this broadcast and hearing, housing has become one of the hottest topics in every municipality and county. And when we hear something that relates to housing, we need to make sure we explain and articulate what that is. So that was my reasoning for
And
asking.
Mr. Chairman, the commissioner is correct. It is for that transitional housing coming out of the accountability courts for the vouchers for the, whether it's extended stay, hotel, or, yes, so that's correct.
Outstanding.
Right.
Okay.
Brenda Ernest is the one that
Yes.
that manages all of that.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
Okay.
We know that well, don't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Very
All
good.
right.
Next item, please.
Thank you. Item 48 is with DICES Solutions to the Technology Services Department. This is for the Cisco Phone Collaboration Flex Plan enrollment. This add terms and conditions to the PO 120796, and it's auto renews. This is no cost increase and submitted for ratification. Item 49 is with GEMA through the EMA department. This is for the employee-employer MOU for the Deputy Director Meredith Barnum to participate in the GEMA Incident Management Team. Item 50 is with Motorola Solutions to the EMA department. This is for the 2023 Motorola Radio Subscriber Service Agreement. This is a renewal in the amount of $74,138.73. The term is January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Item 51 is with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources through the General Services Department. This is for the South River Water Trail through the DNR grant. There is no increase in funds. It's to extend the time of the project through December 29, 2023. Item 52 is to the Georgia Department of Transportation through the General Services Department. This is for the EMA 911 Center. This is the GDOT cost to cure. It's a credit in the amount of $6,000. Item 53 is with the Thanks Mom and Dad Fund through the Parks and Recreation Department Senior Services Division. This is an innovation grant in the amount of $2,000, and the term is January 1st, 2023 through December 5th, 2023.
Can we get an elaboration on that?
Director Redmond. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So this grant award is just for equipment to be purchased for the congregate meals that we have at the Senior Service Center. And we will use it to purchase a dual automatic tea maker and a mixer for the kitchen area to help just prepare their meals and give them another option of beverage preparation.
Well, very good. What do you think, Commissioner?
So Thanks Mom and Dad is just the organization?
Yes, that is the organization that gives us the grant
Okay.
to purchase the equipment.
Okay, I got it. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you.
I think that's a big deal. I think that when you talk about servicing and catering to our senior population, anything that we can do to help make their lives easier and give them as many options as they've deserved, I think that's good. And I don't know much about the organization who's responsible for the grant called Thanks Mom and Dad, but already I like the name of it, and it sounds like they're doing some good work. So let's just give that a round of applause. I mean, next item, please.
All right, item 54 is with the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation. This is to the Planning and Development Department. This is for the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation Brace Grant. This is the Love Where You Live initiative, and the amount is $5,000.
Now, you know I'm going to talk right here.
All right.
Love Where You Live initiative. I've talked about code enforcement and our community improvement teams and the work that they're doing in this community, commissioners, to keep us aesthetically clean. You know, we launched the War on Litter campaign. We got another one coming up here pretty soon. And I just want to take this opportunity to say to those citizens out there who dispose of their debris and their garbage in the right place, thank you for what you're doing. And for those folks who are littering up our county, I'm praying that you get caught, because it makes Rockdale look bad. And our community improvement team literally works hard every day. They'll go to one area and clean it up. 2 days later, there's stuff and trash and debris right back out there all over again. So they're working really hard. We're asking that folks who hear this broadcast and they understand that we're trying to keep Rockdale County clean and beautiful. Trash and debris is a resource to attract the criminal element into your community. Property values goes down, and let me get this out, because there are a few, and I'm having a flash in my head of a few areas in the county right now. There's a few folks who live next door to some Sanford and Son type folks. Yes. And you don't want your house living next door to Sanford and Son and tearing your property value down. And a lot of times, because people don't talk to folk now, folks are crazy. You can't even talk to your neighbors now. So you shake your head and do like my grandmother used to do. So what I'm saying is what that neighbor can't say. Would you please clean that up? Because it looks bad. When I have guests come over, they have to see that across the street, and they wonder how because some people are in a situation where they don't have the liberty or the option to be able to leave or move, and they have to be there. But they wouldn't dare go and say something to the neighbor across the street or behind them or next to their house, because people just are different today. So aesthetics and keeping Rockdale clean and beautiful, I'm going to harp on this one every chance I get, because it's so important that the image of our county, and we're talking about, commissioners, our new strategic theme is reimagine Rockdale. It all ties in with being aesthetically clean and have a clean and safe environment. So I just want to say thank you to code enforcement and community improvement and all of those folks who are doing a fantastic job. The folks who are receiving this award, the planning and development, these $5,000 is going to get sucked up real quick. We're going to put them to good use. Absolutely. Thank you, Executive Director, for letting me just kind of chime in on that piece about keeping us clean.
Well, thank you. Okay, item 55 is with the Alliance Fire Protection Services. This is to the Technology Services Department for Fire Protection Monitoring Services and TSD Data Center, the Terms and Conditions form. This is the sub of DICES, and that was part of a contract 2021-146. Item 56 is with the GDOT through the Water Resources Department. This is for a single lane roundabout at 138 and East Fairview Road. This is the agreement and the resolution in the amount of $138,404.10. Item 57 is with GDOT through the Water Resources Department. This is for the bridge replacement at Honey Creek and Snapping Shoals Creek. This is the formal contract item agreement with the estimated cost that will be prepared and submitted to the BOC at a later date, but this is the agreement.
Okay.
Item 58 is with Direct Residential Community Salem Road Holdings I LLC through the Water Resources Department. This is the development agreement between Rockdale County and Direct Residential Communities to share the cost of the new pump station that's located on Salem Road. In the amount of $850,000 is the estimate total cost at 50% each. Item 59 is with the Georgia Department of Human Services, Division of Family and Children Services. This is to the Water Resources Department for the Low Income Household Water Assistance Program. This is the grant that was received last year in the amount of $160,527.
Can I ask a few questions?
Go right ahead.
I mean, Jamie.
All right.
So, I wanted to ask a few things about the grant. So, is this what is helping our residents get caught up on their water bills?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. It's absolutely the grant. It's a federal program that is funded through the state agencies that once Rockdale signed up and became a partner, they provide assistance to struggling homeowners and water resource customers that desire assistance on their water bill.
Right. And so all they have to do is contact the water department?
Yes, ma'am.
And apply?
Yes, ma'am. That's
I just want
exactly.
to make sure that we get this out as much as possible.
You're
'Cause I
exact-
know a
I'm
lot
sorry.
of people are still getting caught up with their water bills. And I think I heard a story about somebody being in line one day and they owed like $81 and their water was about to get turned off, but somebody behind them paid their $81. But I just want to make sure that we let people know that there are some resources out there. So if you could tell people how they could apply.
Yes, ma'am. Let me get that phone number for you one more time, but it is online. We've sent several bill inserts also, but I can get that phone number. I think it's 929-770. I don't know it off. 929. I'll get it, and if you'll give me a moment and bring it up. But it does allow our customers assistance on their water bill. I know last year alone, we had about 160,000 customers that were that took advantage of this particular program. So as I pull up my files here.
Now while you're doing that, let me just go ahead and say, because I've been here for a minute, and you said 160,000 customers. We don't have that many ratepayers on the water bill.
I'm sorry, $160,000. Thank you for that.
Okay, yes, sir.
I'm thinking.
That's a whole lot of water. But I know you had a human moment there.
I had a very
it's okay.
human moment.
It's okay. It's all right. You should have seen the face that George made back there, boy, when he saw his lips went to his forehead almost. He frowned so bad.
I appreciate that clarity, Mr. Chairman. But that phone number again is 404-929-2500.
Okay. One other question. So we know that there's what is the place? The place that the residents have the water disconnected.
Viewpoint
Viewpoint
condominiums.
condominiums. Is there any way that they are eligible for any of this assistance?
As high level as I can be, Madam Commissioner, we reached out to the private utility to give them this additional information because it is something that they can sign up for. We reached out to the Department of Human Services ourselves, and they advise us that private utilities will be able to take advantage of this if they did exactly what Rockdale did, and that's to sign up as part of the partnership. Unfortunately, that utility company was not interested in moving forward with something per our conversation.
Okay. Thank you. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Deputy Director
Thank you.
Jamison. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Thank you. Item 60 is with Go Forth Williamson Incorporated through the Water Resources Department. This is for the remove, rebuild, and install the high service pump and motors number 3 and number 5 in the amount of $12,240. This is change order number 1 to contract 2022-174. Item 61 is with Johnson Controls Fire Protection LP through the Water Resources Department. This is for the annual service agreement for the sprinkler system and the fire alarm panel essential service. The contract amount is $3,578.73 per year. The term of contract is for 12 months. Item 62 is with COTS Systems through the Clerk of Court's office. This is for the online index books for Superior Court's criminal records. This project includes scanning and digitizing historical Superior Court criminal records to be made available electronically online. The total amount is $118,500, and this is host funded. Item 63 is a requisition through the Fire and Rescue Department for the More to Life Counseling and Consulting. This is for pre-employment evaluations for 25 recruits, counseling and consulting services. This is for 3 months. and to add $18,325 and is submitted for ratification. Item 64 is a requisition through the General Services Department for the National Fitness Campaign. This is for the NFC Fitness Court at Wheeler Park in the amount of $125,000, and it's submitted for ratification. Item 65 is a requisition through the General Services Department. This is for Dynamic Resources, the installation of the fitness court at Wheeler Park in the amount of $25,000, and it's submitted for ratification. Item 66 is a requisition through the General Services Department Fleet Division for Mansfield Oil Company. This is for the 2023 estimated cost of fuel for January 1st, 2023 through December 21st, 2023 in the amount of $439,300. Item 67 is a requisition through the General Services Department Fleet Division for James River Solution for the 2023 estimated cost of fuel for January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023 in the amount of $1,455,000. Item 68 is a requisition through the General Services Department for DAF Concrete. This is for the EMA Fairview parking lot asphalt and concrete in the amount of $23,298, and this is SPLOST funded. Item 69 is a requisition through the General Services Department for RDJE for the EMA 911 site work RDJE unit price contract for 2018-135 the amount is $217,547. This is SPLOST funded and submitted for ratification. Item 70 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for Exxon Water Care. This is for the rental buyout of the water quality profile analysis and floating monitoring system in the amount of $85,650 less the buyout of $44,663, which makes the purchase price $40,987. Item 71 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for NatureChem. This is for various easement clearing sites, the sites to be cleared during the contract extension period, the amount of $75,953. Item 72 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for CERM, Corporate Environmental Risk Management. This is for the Water Resources Department Sewer Rehabilitation Program for 2023. The term is February 11th, 2024 through February the 10th, 2025 in the amount of $800,000. Item 73 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department, also for CERM, Corporate Environmental Risk Management, for the Water Resources Engineering Staff Augmentation Support for 2023. The term is February 11th, 2023 through February 10th, 2024 in the amount of $610,000. Item 74 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for CERM, Corporate Environmental Risk Management, through the Water and Sewer System Asset Inventory Program for 2023. The term is February 11th, 2023 through February 10th, 2024 in the amount of $150,000. Item 75 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for Delta Municipal for the Neptune T10 meter E-code R900I in the amount of $160,750. Item 76 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for Delta Municipal for the Neptune activation of the 5/8 meters in the amount of $54,000. This is SPLOST funded. Item 77 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for IPR Southeast LLC. This is for the sewer main upsizing of the Almond Branch sewer system. This is to add to the PO in the amount of $340,000. Item 78 is a requisition through Technology Services for Know Before. This is security awareness training subscription in the amount of $23,328. Item 79 is a requisition through the Technology Services Department for Cambridge Computer Services. This is for the Cylance Protect. This is 1-year renewal. The term is February 21st, 2023 through February 20th, 2024. The amount is $23,210, and this is submitted for ratification. Item 80 is a requisition through the Stormwater Management Department for ProShock Concrete. This is to renew the contract to rehabilitate and upgrade corrugated metal pipe. The original PO was $537,250, and this is a change order for $589,097.38, making the new PO total $1,663,597.38.
Is someone from Stormwater here?
Yeah, Director Simpkins is here. Come on up, Director.
Is this the new technology that you were telling us about, that you can squirt in the pipes and it seals it and keeps us from having to dig them all up? Is this what you?
Yes, ma'am. This is just.
Clean that up for me, please. Clean that up. What I just said.
Yes, ma'am. That is the same shotcrete technology. One thing in addressing 40 years of neglect, it's not an overnight process. So I will continue to come before you to let you know that we are hard at work in stormwater, rehabilitating these pipes. It saves us a lot of time and taxpayer money by using this process as opposed to open cutting all stormwater pipes that are in need of repair around the county. I actually knew I was going to be called up here when I started asking for these large amounts. So I just wanted to just a little bit of quick information. The fact that a lot of our capital improvement projects that we got taken care of last year were initially estimated to cost the county around $4 million is what we initially looked at these projects costing to just do a traditional open cut and take these pipes out of the ground and replace them. Embracing this new technology, we were able to get over 14 projects done last year at a cost estimate of a little bit over $1 million. So that is a substantial savings. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of people might not feel that we are stewards of the citizens' money and taxpayer money, but we are definitely all stewards, and we're doing whatever we can to try to save whatever taxpayer dollars we can and getting this stuff addressed. So,
and Director, that is great news. That's always good to hear, and we certainly appreciate the work that Stormwater Management is doing. Just tell us a little bit about this change order itself.
Okay, with the change order, because if you look at it, the math doesn't add up, but what happened was we had a pipe lining contractor. When I say pipe lining, a chemical lining contractor, where you would basically take a fiberglass bladder, insert it into an existing pipe, superheat that with steam, and you end up with a new fiberglass pipe. We generally use that for smaller diameter pipes.
Right.
The shotcrete process, we generally use that for larger diameter pipes, 36 inches and above. So we had an issue with one contractor towards the ends of last year who was having some subcontractor issues. He could not get his subcontractors on board, therefore he was holding me up and getting work done. I couldn't have that happen. So I ended up moving the money from one consultant to ProShot, who was able to find somebody that could get the work done. So hence there was a change order for approximately $537,000 that was moved. And so, hence we were able to keep going, get the chemical lining work done, and now we're back asking for more money to get the shotcrete work done. So that's the reason for the difference.
Well, we appreciate you monitoring and tracking the work of the contractors that are in agreement with Rockdale County. And I think it's important that having an inspector out in the field, because these change orders can be quite hefty at times.
Yes.
We try to stay away from those as often as we can. However, we know that there is a challenge in the labor force out there, having people out, boots on the ground, Oftentimes, we experience the same thing on Sigmund Road. We enter into an agreement with a consultant, and then about midway, they're having a difficulty, commissioners, finding people who actually really want to work. Finding labor is a challenge for a lot of people today. Thank you, Director.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner. Next item, please.
All right, item 81 is an expenditure request with Tyler Technologies to the Sheriff's Office. This is the maintenance cost for the Brazos e-citation system in the amount of $18,681.18. Item 82 is an expenditure request through Tyler Technologies to the Clerk of Court's Office. This is for the invoice for the annual maintenance and support of all divisions using Odyssey in the amount of $56,238.
Chief Sanders, I understand that there is a review being conducted between your office and Director Moore Jackson regarding Tyler and some of the technology services deliveries that they provide to the county. Is that still in process?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Director Moore Jackson and her team are currently looking at that with the contract and also reviewing the terms with purchasing.
Okay, I'll look forward to getting that. And you, commissioners, y'all realize we've been in agreement with Tyler for quite some time, particularly with the Odyssey system over at the courthouse and the clerk office. And we've had some concerns, and I think it's just time to kind of take a look at what's going on with them.
Ask her to call me, the clerk.
Next item, please.
All right, item 83 is an expenditure request through NAPCO for the Fire and Rescue Department. This is for the firefighter boots, line coats, pants, and alterations in the amount of $22,788.34. Item 84 is an expenditure request for the City of Conyers Old Town events through Public Relations Department. This is for the Rockdale County's portion of the Red, White, and Boom event in the amount of $27,500.
Become one of the most popular events in the summertime here in Old Town Conyers. That's another event that we proudly partnership with the City of Conyers on, is the Red, White, and Boom. It's typically the 3rd of July. I don't know, Director Members, is it a new date this year? Because sometime the 4th of July is always on the 4th of July, but what about the celebration? Has that changed?
We haven't heard of a new date yet. I think it's still the 3rd. I haven't heard of a new date.
I couldn't hear you. George was talking with CJ about the change of the date of the 4th of July.
We haven't heard of a new change.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we're all set.
Yes.
Red, white, and boom. All right, very good. All right. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
All right, item 85 is a list of surplus equipment for the Technology Services Department, the Accountability Courts, State Court, the Sheriff's Office, the Board of Commissioners Office, Parks and Recreation Department, the Stormwater Department, and Fire and Rescue Department. Item 86 is a future land use case 2023-01, an ordinance to amend the future land use map of Rockdale County's comprehensive plan as amended so as to redesignate property located at 163 and 169 Abbott Road from mixed-use employment center and medium-density residential category to the high-density residential. To repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes, this will be submitted for a first reading next Tuesday. That's not right. Okay. Item 87 is a rezoning case 2023-03, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 163 and 169 Abbott Road Southwest from R1 Single Family Residential to the MRU Mixed Use Residential, to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This will be submitted for a first reading next Tuesday. Item 88 is a rezoning case 2023-04, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 2405 Southeast Salem Road from OI Office Institutional to SRC-NC Salem Road Corridor Neighborhood Commercial, to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This will be submitted for a first reading next Tuesday. Item 89 are volunteer appointments to the Conyers Rockdale Library Board of Trustees. The first one would be Stephen McMullen, an appointment. The term would be January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025. The second one would be for James Cabe as a reappointment for the term being January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025. Item 90 is a request for alcoholic beverage license, and your list is attached to your agenda. Item 91 is with the Collaborative Incorporated through the Talent Management Department for professional support services for the Planning and Development Interim Director, an amount not to exceed $98,800, and this is for a five-month period. And we have Executive Director Holmes ready to approach the podium.
Good evening, Chairman, Madam Commissioners.
Good evening.
This evening, I would like to introduce Mr. Timothy Holtz. He is going to serve as our point of contact, or on-site point of contact for Collaborative. I do want to share a little bit about his experience. He is here this evening, so I did tell him that after I do the introduction, I'm going to have him come up and make a few comments as well. Okay. So, Mr. Holtz comes to us as a municipal planner. He has over 25 years of experience serving in local government, planning and zoning departments. He's experienced in neighborhood planning, zoning, advanced planning, planning policy development, and planning department administration. He has significant knowledge of the preparation and implementation of comprehensive plans, traditional zoning ordinance amendments, and development codes. Prior to serving as a municipal consultant, Mr. Holtz served as a city manager, an assistant city manager, a community development director, and a planning director. At this time, I would like to bring up Mr. Holtz to make a few comments. So, Mr. Holtz, if you can come on up.
And he's from California.
And he's from California.
Well, that means he's your homeboy.
We are so glad to see you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Commissioners. I apologize for being from California. I love being in Georgia.
No apologies.
Absolutely love it here. My wife and my family, we love it. My mom moved here. My wife has family in Georgia, and we moved here to be with them. Just a little bit about myself. As the director said, I'm a senior associate with the Collaborative. I'm excited to start as the interim director of planning and development, and I'm looking forward to helping you with your goals and objectives for the department, as well as Deputy Director Wheeler and his staff, maybe being there to help them grow as planners, and also to help them with some of the significant projects that they have going forward, especially the comprehensive plan. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Holtz?
We don't want to scare him off.
Welcome aboard. Give him a round of applause. I had an opportunity earlier to meet with Mr. Holtz in our offices this afternoon, and he does bring a world of experience and knowledge, and certainly it's going to be a welcome, refreshing component to our planning and development department. As Rockdale County, as you know, we have a lot of things going on economic development-wise, planning and development, new things that are happening both on the commercial front, the residential, and the industrial front here in Rockdale County. Our planning and development team is the critical component, the staff that really pulls all of the pieces together that make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's properly in Rockdale County with new development, whether you're expanding a current existing organization or you're attracting someone into the community, making sure that those things are looking to come to our community are the right fit for Rockdale County. And then there has to be a balance in terms of utilities, water, stormwater, and all of those other things that we've been talking about over the last few months. So thank you, welcome aboard, and we look forward to what you bring to the table. Next item, please.
So, Mr. Chairman, that concludes agenda review portion of our agenda tonight. We are down to public comment. I do not have any red cards. Do you have any that have been turned in? No. Okay. I will begin reading.
And just before you do that, I'm going to go ahead, since she's already up, have Director Mims. Commissioners, as you all know, we've had a lot of robust concern and interest in our public relations department in terms of us getting messages out to the community. Communication, information, and properly being able to disseminate that information, particularly for those folks who can't physically get here to a meeting. Director Mims, what are you doing about it?
So glad you asked. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Madam Commissioners.
when Mr. Chairman opened the meeting, he talked about the chairs that you're sitting in being quite aged. Well, our equipment for public relations is probably just as old as the previous chairs that you've had. Our equipment is 15 years old, and so right now we're experiencing some technical problems. Even though you're allowed to see the agenda in here on the screen, one of the problems we're having is while we're live streaming, the citizens can't see the agendas, we can't show presentations. The system is crashing occasionally, as well as the sound going out. So don't fear though, we have new equipment coming. So the new equipment should be installed mid-March, and then we'll resume streaming quality programming in April. So
That's planning meetings also?
that is planning meetings, yes. So planning meetings will resume streaming in April once we have our new equipment.
So are you saying even these board meetings, there's lots of trouble on?
Oh yes, all meetings, there's lots of trouble. So at any given time, while you're sitting here, you may not be aware, but the system is crashing periodically on Facebook. It's been doing that probably since November.
Well, let me just say, and I want to have you to give that information one more time before you take your seat. But let me say this: the citizens have done a fantastic job with communicating with the three of us, expressing their concerns about not being able to access the meetings. As we are aware, some folks are challenged or disabled, and they're not able to physically get here. But I really appreciate what Director Mims is saying about the fact that some of our equipment is old and outdated and
All
obsolete.
of the equipment that we have.
Right. Well, let me finish. This is my part. I got this part. I'm coming back to you. I told you I was coming back to you. Stay where you are. So let me say this, because I think it's important that citizens know that we're listening to them, and that every time there's an improvement or an upgrade, there is a cost associated with that. So we want to make sure that we can be very transparent, and that we have open lines of communication and provide the level of technology that will give the delivery of services that our citizens demand. So, Director Mims, take a moment, and I want you to talk about the fact that there's only going to be two meetings that we're going to be live streaming. I want to send out the wrong message. Give us that information again, please.
So the meetings that we currently live stream are the Board of Commissioners meetings. But going forward, starting in April, we're not sure of the date yet, but once the new equipment is installed, we will be streaming the planning meetings as well, the zoning and commission planning meetings.
And where is that new equipment? Where is it coming from? What's the holdup? Tell us about that process.
So there is no holdup with the equipment. Of course, anytime you're ordering anything, it takes some time. So the new equipment is coming from Amatrace. That company is located in Atlanta, Georgia. They're due to install on March 16th. We have to have some new wiring because we're getting all new equipment. Because our system is aged, we can't utilize new equipment with that system. It doesn't complement each other. So we have to go through a wiring process of getting new wiring for the system. And once we receive the new system, we'll be ready to go.
You know, I really appreciate you breaking that down and articulating it in such a way that everybody can receive it. I am old school, and I do remember the snow that would come on the TV, and the message said, "Please stand by. We're experiencing technical difficulties." This is very similar of then. You know, as technology continues to advance and change very, very rapidly, there's no way we can still operate with the old equipment from back in the day. Our PR department has come miles and years ahead of itself in terms of being able to broadcast across all of these social media platforms, the number of communication pieces that they put out with flyers and information. We're constantly trying to inundate the general public about what's happening in Rockdale County. And in doing so, our equipment has a failure. Please stand by, pardon our progress, be patient with us as we continue to move forward. Director Mims, we ask that you will continue to give us an update. Now, this flyer that you have, it really speaks to what's happening. And I like the fact that you did not box yourself into a particular day in the month of April. You said April because things do change. Will this be posted? Where will this be seen so people will get the word out?
So this will be posted on all of our social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Channel 23.
Sounds good. So the last thing I'll say, commissioners, as COVID taught us to use technology in a different way. There came Teams meetings, Zoom meetings, and technology, and we went into a mode of remote work. Well, people became accustomed to that. And some of that, you can't pull it back. You got to continue to provide that level of technology. People can tune in to what's happening here at the Board of Commissioners meeting from the comfort of their own living room or their home or what have you, or their handheld device. But if it doesn't work, because the equipment is outdated and obsolete, we've got to do some upgrades. I'm hearing that we're doing the upgrades. Please, just be patient with us. We're going to get you back. We're going to get back to regular scheduled programming momentarily. So just hold tight. The month of April is on the way. Anything you'd like to add, Director?
You summed it up.
All right. Well,
Now
give
you
her a
see-
round of applause.
Now you see how I feel.
That was an important piece because I have to say thank you, commissioners, as you all have seen the number of emails and inquiries and text messages we received from concerned citizens, and rightfully so. So that clears the air as we continue to move forward, and we ask for people's continuous patience. At this time, we will now go forward with the reading of our disclaimer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we enter public comment, as a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are currently going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted.
Thank you so much. First up, we have Mr. George Kellercheck. Come on up, Mr. Kellercheck.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, Rockdale County citizens.
Good evening.
There's never a wrong time to do the right thing. And there's never a good time to do a bad thing. We'd like to provide you an update regarding the Haynes Watershed Foundation activities. There has been an initial visit by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that was completed on February 7th, 2023, regarding our issues within the Haynes Watershed, which includes Gwinnett, Walton, Newton, and Rockdale counties, which you are aware of. I have found out that we are now working with Rockdale, Newton, Gwinnett, and Walton officials pertaining to the initial letter for the watershed assessment by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which will be funded at 100% of federal dollars. No cost to any of the counties. Also, I found out during the meeting from Mr. Brian Choate, representative with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers from Savannah, Georgia, there are also federal and state funds to reduce our 63% of water loss, which can save money to taxpayers and reduce our water and sewer bills going up. There are federal and state dollars available, and I will share that with Mr. Kimbry Peak. Today, I spent many hours at the Gold Dome providing information watershed packages to Rockdale legislative, House representatives, and senators. I spent 30 minutes with Senator Lee Anderson, the chairman of the Environment and Natural Resources Operations for the state of Georgia. He's behind us 100%, along with the EPD, EPA, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, of getting this 40-year-old plus problem, which are bad management practices in the Haynes watershed. The foundation is looking forward to working with local, state, federal officials regarding the watershed and reservoir issues, which are both eco-environmental and legislative. My next trip to the Gold Dome will be on March the 7th with the Georgia Association of Conservation Districts, and again be speaking with local representatives. Then I will be going to Washington, D.C. in late March to meet with representatives of the National Association of Conservation Districts, along with senators and congressmen. Again, the Haynes Watershed Foundation is costing no money to any of these counties involved, so I hope you look forward to working with the Haynes Watershed Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kilichak, and thank you for all that you do on behalf of Rockdale County. Come on up, Ms. Colas Turner, come on up with your, she has a comment, and we're just gonna bring her right on up, and you can hand me your red comment card. Absolutely, Voices for Rockdale. Thank you, ma'am. All right.
I want to say thank you, but I knew the time would start clicking. I do understand what is it Director Mims was saying about the equipment, but couldn't that equipment be used until you replace the equipment, because the same equipment is going to be used for the meeting on the 23rd, correct? And as I'm sitting here in this meeting, I am watching this meeting on YouTube and as well as on Facebook. So it sounds like it's an in and out thing. There was no problem on the 15th, I understand. I know on the 9th the mics weren't working. Are the mics gonna be working? And I know that it's okay per the ACCG that participants or the citizens can record. So we're gonna, Voices for Rockdale and other citizens are gonna try to help you all out in this time of crisis so that the other citizens can hear the meeting and see the meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Turner, and thank you to the assistance provided by the Voices of Rockdale and all that you do for the citizens of Rockdale County. Mr. C.J. Lester, come on up, C.J.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening, Pastor. How you doing?
I am here on behalf of Viewpoint Condominiums Board, and I have a letter they provided for me to read. So I'm here tonight on behalf of Viewpoint East Condominiums. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to set the record straight regarding the Jasper's Utility Services submetering in our community. At the beginning of 2022, the Board of Directors brought forward a possibility of submetering all units to our homeowners. At the end of 2021, our community was in a financial crisis. After years of past due HOA fees and the reserves were gone, having been used to pay our monthly bills, we had to find a way to save our community. We contacted Jasper to come and speak to our homeowners. A meeting date was set, and letters were sent out to all homeowners, as well posted information on the board at the entrance so all could see. After the presentation from Jasper, a vote was taken and the following guidelines of our bylaws. The motion to submeter passed, and notifications was sent out to all homeowners. And the letter was mailed to each of the Jasper, detailing what would happen and the dates. Financially, with a down payment and payment plans was offered to make it easier for those who needed it. The project began in July and ended in January of this year. Homeowners had 10 months to pay Jasper for the Jasper meter, and at the end of this project, 48 homeowners have been paid, leaving 31 unpaid. Notice was given at the start of November of last year that Jasper will be locking meters of all the unpaid meters in January. We asked them to please give us as much time as possible as they could. Meters were locked on January 23rd. The 31 units were told they could have the meters unlocked as soon as payment was made. Jasper also extended the down payment and financing options on again to help the homeowners affected. As of today, February 21st, we have 11 units remaining without water. All others have paid. Out of those 11 units, 4 units are unoccupied. That leaves 7 unoccupied units without water. We are hoping that those 7 will be paid and reconnected soon. We want to thank the commissioners, the police department, and all local churches and organizations that donated water. It was greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much.
And if you have any questions, I'll be here afterwards.
Thank you so much, Pastor Lester. We appreciate first of all, let me just say we appreciate the support of the community. Several local nonprofits and some churches that I've been made aware of did, as he stated, stepped in to assist the residents over there. Rockdale County has to take first of all, we're empathetic to the need of our residents and our citizens. Folks have to have water. However, we find ourselves in some very awkward positions as it relate to legal agreements and things of that nature. But the good news here tonight from Pastor Lester is that they've worked out and they're beyond the 80% point of being completely restored. Let's give them a round of applause for that. We will continue to pray for those other persons that they can meet their obligations and satisfy the agreement that's between them and the corporate landlord. But thank you for the update, and we certainly do appreciate all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Are we omitting anyone that fell or for whatever reason did not fill out a red comment card or intended to speak tonight? Anybody? Want to make sure we give everyone an opportunity to have a platform to be able to participate in public comment. Dr. Jackson, you wish to come forward? If you would come, well, I'll let you come on up at this time and get with Director Mims and fill out a card, and we'll let the card reflect the record. But you can come on and talk. We can fill the card out soon after the meeting is over, and we'll go from there. Okay. Tell us who you are and what you're doing.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Cynthia Jackson. I am the CEO and founder of a nonprofit organization called Jackson Inspirations, and our goal is to utilize farmland to provide a community garden and also agricultural programming for kids. We are excited that a couple of weeks ago someone offered us 5 acres to get started. So we really want to be a resource to provide healthy foods.
Go ahead.
Oh. To provide healthy food options in Rockdale County, and also create an internship with the local high school students, and also additional agricultural programming for elementary and middle school students. So we are excited. Our mission is rooted in the fact that for years I've had a strong interest in healthy eating. So that's number one. And number two, also food insecurity is still a problem. People still lack access to healthy food, and so we want to be a solution to that. And also this is also rooted in the fact that the amount of Black farmers has declined over the years. Approximately 3 million farmers exist in the United States right now. And of those 3 million, about 45,000 are Black farmers. And so we want to introduce this agricultural and farming culture to all kids, but especially children of color, so that they will one day grow up and hopefully join in the farm industry and grow a love for agriculture. And so we are in need of support. We would like partnerships, we would like donations, we would like volunteers. And so please, if you're able, if you're interested in joining forces with us, you can visit our website at jacksoninspirations.org.
And Dr. Jackson, is there a phone number of someone who's listening and watching can reach out to you to join your campaign for this effort that you're leading?
Yes, so we have an email address, info@jacksoninspirations.org, or you can give me a call, Cynthia Jackson, 678-477-3984 for any, again, we need additional farmland, but just any partnerships would be awesome.
Commissioners, any comments for Dr. Jackson?
I'm super excited. So I saw this whole initiative on, I think I was in Houston at a golf tournament, and went on a walk, and they have these trees that line their walkway so that anybody that is ever hungry can just eat at any time. And so that's started me thinking about the fact that we do need to start teaching our children how to eat, how to be self-sufficient, how to grow things. And I had tried to do a little container garden last summer and didn't go too well. But it's just saying how hard it is and my little container garden was very small. But we do need to do a lot of things so that we can bring that back to this country, because you never know where we're going to be and whenever, because we need to learn how to grow our own, at least to be able to nourish ourselves. So I'm extremely interested in this. I've been doing a lot of research on agriculture. They have this whole food alliance in Atlanta, and I was getting the research on they have an urban farming strategy so that we can apply for it. So let's talk and let's make this dog hunt.
Okay, sounds good.
Commissioner Williams, any comments on this one?
Yes. I grew up in the Central Valley of California, which is completely agricultural. You know, we picked peaches, we picked apples, we picked apricots and plums and all kinds of things. The time we were there, they used to let you go into the fields after they had been harvested, and you could get the tomatoes that were left and the broccoli and the, squash and whatever. So, that healthy eating is really important. Are you familiar with Global Growers Network?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew that they have a similar mission, and I don't, if there's some way that you can partner with them also.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I'm excited you're here.
Yeah,
That's really exciting.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Jackson, thank you and your 2 junior Georgia Bulldogs back there for joining us in our meeting this evening. They're just as
so
cute as a
good.
button.
Troopers.
Yeah, they are troopers. We appreciate you. It seems like you do have some support coming from both directions with our commissioners. Thank you for visiting our office and our teams out at Costley Mill and Johnson Park with Director Redmond. So we look forward to hearing more good news in the days ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do on behalf of Rockdale County.
Thank you.
All right. I think we've gotten all of our comment cards.
That's correct.
And if you would make sure that Dr. Jackson's complete one for the record, and we'll have that to be able to reflect. At this time, we're going to jump right into board comment. And I'll start with Commissioner Washington.
Thank you. So, I think last week somebody told me that I said, I'm tired. They were like, well, you've been on breaks for a month. And I was like, no, I haven't. We're still moving, even though we're not sitting here.
Right.
We're working hard. But I did want to thank everybody that came out for my first Chat and Chew of the year. I thought it was very successful. Ms. Geller was there, and we did have some robust conversation. And we're planning to do the next one probably in April, because I am getting tired, so I said I can't burn out in the beginning of the year. Got the whole year to go. So, but it was a great success. If you haven't been to the host eatery, which is Mizu's Coffee Bar, you should go by there. Great facility, great coffee, great cake. She does this pound cake, delicious. Of course, we will be hosting our next small business mixer on March the 14th at Frozen Notes. So small business owners, please come and learn about your business. Promote your business. Last month or this month, David Corbin was one of our guest speakers, and he was phenomenal. Just really, really good. So please come out on March the 14th from 6 to 9 at Frozen Notes right up the street. We often get invitations to participate in a lot of different activities or whatever. And a lot of times it's, because people want their representatives to be there. But last week and this week, I got the opportunity to, I was asked to participate in the Night to Shine, which is it's like a prom for disabled citizens. And when I tell you that's probably one of the highlights of my 6 years. The mayor and I were asked to distribute stuffed animals. And the joy on these people's faces from just getting a teddy bear was worth everything. You know, that was definitely one of the highlights. So I wanted to give a special recognition and point of gratitude for the people that promoted and put on a Night to Shine. It was phenomenal, and I hope that we get to be more involved next year. The second thing that I was asked to do was be a part of the Black History program at Elks Aidmore on yesterday. So Judge attend, Finya attend. So they were asking for historical women. So Judge Finya attend, Katrina McCullum Young and I got to present to these young ladies on yesterday. And that was phenomenal. The interest, the questions, just, you know, being able to pour back into those young ladies was amazing. On Thursday, this coming up Thursday at 11:30, Congressman Hank Johnson will be here to officially announce the award that CRETC is receiving for the Workforce Development Program. So if anybody doesn't have anything to do at 11:30 in the morning, we will be here, so that the public will know what we're doing with workforce development and CRETC. And finally, NACO conference. I once again learned so much. There's so much going on a national level. The bipartisan infrastructure bill is really doing what it's supposed to do. Of course, being able to be in the room with a sitting president is always nice. When President Biden came through and addressed us, that was definitely a highlight. But we brought back so many things that hopefully we can implement throughout the county. That's all I have until Dr. Williams reminds me of something.
All right, Dr. Williams.
Well, I was going to start out talking about NACO, and I have lots of pages of notes that I took while I was there, but I don't want to share all of those with you. But I thought I would share with you some of what the Surgeon General shared with us. He talked about 1 in 3 girls have contemplated suicide in the last year, and that 50% of our youth are expressing some kind of mental health issue. He then went on to say, and then he said, and their parents are having mental health issues also, which was interesting to me because I had an in-depth conversation with a mother the other day, and she was telling me that how difficult it had been with her kids not in school, and then they were trying to catch up, and all the shifting and the changing. And so, and he talked about some of the reasons. He said bullying, especially on social media, was a problem. He said the constant news. There's constant news. You can access it 24 hours a day. It stokes fear and anxiety. Kids, he reported, said about social media, it makes them feel worse, but they can't get off. And I thought that was interesting. So they're dealing with excessive and prolonged stress too. He talked about addressing those mental health issues, and he suggested that we need to improve our social connections. And I thought about that a lot because it was really comfortable for me when everything was shut down and I just got to stay home all the time.
Me too.
And I'm having to force myself to reach out to people again. But I came home and immediately contacted my neighbor that we've been talking about going to lunch for months. So we're going to lunch tomorrow.
Very good.
Just, just those simple things, and kids need that connection too. And he talked about how if we strengthen communities, we can do that by strengthening social connections. And we need to have that social part of our life. We've got to implement that back into our lives again. So I thought that was interesting. There was also a lot of talk about the opioid epidemic and the opioid settlement that has come about. In an email stream this week about the opioid settlement, Judge Bills was saying that one of their participants 2 weeks ago overdosed and with fentanyl, and they were able to revive this person with 2 doses of Narcan. And so there's one of the things they talked about at NACO was the Narcan testing strips, where it sounds like you're giving them, license to try the drugs. There's no evidence that if they weren't going to try the drugs, they're going to try them now because you give them a fentanyl strip, but it can save lives. It's part of what they're calling a harm reduction plan. And if they have those strips, they can find out if this, what they're thinking about taking is lethal or not. And then one more thing about it was that I lost my train of thought. I looked like I lost my train of thought. But anyway, there's a lot of work to be done, and we continue to move forward. I made connections with people again. That's the best part of NACO. Okay, so I have a Black History thought. And this was interesting to me, and maybe you already knew this, but I did not. Black History Month began in 1915. I had no idea.
Carter G. Woodson.
Huh?
It was Carter G. Woodson started. Black History was a week when it first started.
Oh, was it? This says it was a half a century after the 13th Amendment, and Carter G. Woodson and Jesse E. Moreland founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And it's known today as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And that group sponsored a National Negro History Week in 1926. And they chose the second week of February because it was the birthday of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Then I learned something else. Obviously, you probably already know this. Now, I did know this. President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month in 1976, calling upon the public to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. Since 1976, every American president has designated February as Black History Month. And here's what I didn't know. They endorse a specific theme for it. And so the Black History Month theme this year is Black Resistance, to explore how African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppression in all forms, especially the racial terrorism of lynching, racial pogroms, and police killings since the nation's earliest days. So just a little historical tidbit about Black History Month.
Thank you for that, Commissioner. Did you have a Black History moment, Commissioner Washington, that you wanted to share?
Well, I did, but my phone, I still can't get to my internet, so I'll have them all next Tuesday.
All right.
We'll be here for a minute.
You
y'all.
still have time, but I want to just say thank you to our Public Relations Department, and they have the NACO. You were talking, both of you were talking about NACO. I want to pull up the video and let's share a little bit of the highlights from our NACO conference the past week. Welcome to NACO. That's right, the National Association of Counties. I'm so glad to be here representing Rockdale County. Each year, we're represented by the Board of Commissioners here in the nation's capital as we pick up information, network, and engage with all of our national leaders here with the National Association of Counties concerning mental health, public safety, infrastructure, all of those needs that are impacting counties on a day-to-day basis.
This is always an incredible experience. I've been coming ever since I was first elected in 2015, but every year is different. And so there were lots of ideas about how to vitalize Rockdale County and make it attractive to young families.
This is one of the most wonderful conferences that I've been to. We learn about issues that affect the entire country. And one of the things about coming here is that we get to interact with not only the problems, but we get to hear a lot of the ways that other jurisdictions are solving those problems. So it's just one of the best conferences in our nation's capital. This is my 7th one and I've enjoyed every one. Say thank you to our PR department for capturing a few of the highlights. Let me tell you, there's just so much to talk about with NACO and what it brings in terms of resources and the connections. One of the things that I do appreciate is Rockdale always have a very robust delegation of representation. People know that Rockdale County is on Capitol Hill. The ability to have key members of our staff and our leadership team to be a part and to participate in several of the different breakout sessions, to bring information back to our own community, pick up ideas and hear what other folks who are facing a lot of the same similar issues in their municipalities, or should I say in their counties, and we can bring that information back and incorporate some of those things here in Rockdale County. But finding resources and people that you can network with from one level to the next. Again, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, mental health, public safety, technology, and then Director Morgan, you know they talked about the first aid, the mental health first aid kit. That is really one of the biggest things that's been sold across the nation to make sure that there is a first aid kit as it relates to mental illness and mental health that you can deploy in the time of need, whether you're in fire rescue or the sheriff's office, the police department, public safety, be able to have the right tools, a kit to be able to identify those people who are suffering all across our communities with mental illness and mental health. NACO is a great investment on behalf of Rockdale County. We appreciate all of our team members who had an opportunity to participate and go. The commissioners are all scattered through the conference, trying to get in and out of the different breakout sessions so that we can bring every single thing back to Rockdale County. So it was a big, big deal, and we want to say thank you. You want to add? Yes. So one thing that a lot of people do not know is that our chairman sits on the board of directors for NACO, and I think that deserves a round of applause. It is a big deal. That's a super accomplishment. In order to be nominated, you have to have a heart of service and leadership, and so congratulations. And he is serving us well. Every time I say Rockdale, it's like I say Rockdale, they say Oz. That's how it goes. So it's
well, thank you.
Well respected.
Thank you, Commissioner. And you know, the one thing about serving on the various different committees, NACO or ACCG Board of Managers, I try to make it very plain and clear that we don't simply just want a seat at the table, we want a voice.
Exactly.
We want to make sure that the people know that Rockdale is in the room, we're in the building, and that we can bring back a return on our investment. It's one thing to participate in conferences and be sitting on boards, but if you're not really bringing something back that the people can see, something that's tangible and touchable that we can deliver to the citizens of Rockdale County, it's a privilege and an honor. And we don't just limit ourselves to our own region, but you better believe that Rockdale is the #1 thing that's on my mind as we're serving at the national level and on the state level with the Association of County Commissioners with the Board of Managers. So thank you for that, and we will continue to make sure that as we make our way up I-95 north or down 16 towards Savannah and 75 south, that folks on the state level and on the national level know that Rockdale County is in the building. Let me just say one other thing. The relationship that we have with our federal lobbyists and the fantastic work that our Executive Director of Government Affairs does to connect the dot, because these conferences is in the wheelhouse of Executive Director Rutledge because of her role as Executive Director of Government Affairs. Having those relationships with our federal lobbyists and our state lobbyists along with our delegation so that when we make our way to DC, that we can get into the room and talk to our senators and our representatives, our congressmen, to make sure that they're not just passing out a bag of peanuts. We don't eat peanuts. We know, we're from Georgia. Right. We know what peanuts, peaches, and Coca-Cola, we know all of that, what it tastes like. We want to get down to business and talk about real results that will bring it back to Rockdale County. So give Executive Director Rutledge a round of applause. Absolutely. You have to have the folks who have, we call them, nicknamed the Capitol Hill because she has a Capitol Hill state of mind, and she does a fantastic job. Listen, when you have excellent talent on your team, and we've been blessed with tremendous talent all throughout the ranks in the various departments in Rockdale County, it's a poor frog that won't praise his own pond. And I'm going to tell you that we have the best leadership team in the state of Georgia. Give yourselves a round of applause. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now listen, I want to just take a moment as we're drawing near a close. We were talking about Black history, and I thank Commissioner Williams for sharing her moment there. But our PR department, as you know, did a fantastic job last year honoring the Black church. You know, Rockdale County has over 300 churches. Every mile and 3/4 of a mile, there is a church. Pastor Lester is with us tonight. But I want you to pull that video up and show one of those points there, and we're going to continue to do it. We've got one more meeting in this month to highlight. They've asked the pastor, say, can you play it again? You did a great job. So here it is, and I think that people really enjoyed this tribute to the Black church.
Most of the church histories start with something like people gathered in small groups in a brush arbor. So somewhere in a clearing in the woods, kind of, they would have worship. And out of that, they eventually built buildings.
The African American church has served as the oldest, strongest, and most influential institution in the Black community for many, many years. Families, businesses, schools, colleges, universities have been birthed out of the Black church.
They assembled a list of 37 men, freed blacks and freed slaves, who would make up the first prospective class of what later became Morehouse College.
We are a part of a faith that is a Judeo-Christian faith. And a part of the Jewish Christian heritage is the emancipation from slavery of the children of Israel
And the children of Israel are mandated by Scripture to remember where they came from. When we see our story being told, we take just as much pride in being delivered from American slavery as the Jewish people do from being liberated from Egyptian slavery.
God has a way of allowing his people to be tested, allowing his people to go into captivity. And in the case of Israel and the Babylon, God declares that he did it himself because of their disobedience. But in the end, he promises that you're going to be better on the end than you were in the beginning.
We were taught the scriptures. We were taught how to raise hymns. We were taught devotion. We were taught service and give back.
From ages 0 to 18, church was our life. I have 4 brothers. Church was our life. Not only were you going to church, but you were going to participate in the worship experience.
Every Sunday was an event. Every Sunday was, because the people took it so seriously. The ushers would wear their uniforms. The choir would be robed up, and a lot of times they wouldn't just take the choir stand, they would march in singing. And the start of the service, oftentimes you had what was called devotional services.
For thine is your king, and the power, all of it this evening.
We praise God for at least a solid hour and 15 minutes or so. And after that, all you had to do was just let the folk begin to tell what the Lord did while they were praising him.
I think about Bishop T.D. Jakes. I also think about Reverend C.L. Franklin. I think about Dr. King. There are so many, countless numbers of contributors to the black church and to the black pulpit. The institution of the black church lives and lies within each and every person's soul and spirit.
The churches go back to the end of the Civil War. Churches were kind of a place where you could be free to be, because about 6 days of the week, you might be subject to all kinds of insults and various kinds of abuses. In that church world, you could be somebody.
If their spirits were downtrodden, their spirits could be uplifted. The services were very energetic. They would sing the praise and worship songs, the devotion songs, and they would get excited. They would clap, they would run, they would shout, dance, all of that. They could have gone through hell and high water from Monday through Saturday, but when they went to church on Sundays, their spirits were revived. And to hear an electrifying message, a message of hope, a message of encouragement, a message of faith, a message of prosperity, they could leave out on 10. Came in on 0, but going out on 10, feeling they could conquer the world.
Who gave its son, my soul to save, and fitted for the sky.
One of the most unique experiences you can have is visiting an African American church. You talked about Ms. Gillett coming to the Chat and Chew. Now, if you can get her to come to one of the black churches, particularly during this Black History Month, George, you're going to have an experience that you have never experienced. Now, Pastor Lester has gone to several black churches because I've seen him there, and he knows it's a different kind of experience. Now, Deputy Director Jameson, is a pastor, and he's a member of one of them churches, Chief Mac, they were staying there all day. Well, I'm a church boy. I like the church. I think Director Holmes is too. She's a church girl, but Jameson, while y'all was still hooping and hollering, we was eating a little bit of fried chicken and some Jiffy cornbread. Say that again? Taking a nap, absolutely. But
well, I have to say that it has been one of the highlights for me to become acquainted with the black churches in Rockdale and to attend them.
Absolutely. So what a beautiful time other than, Black History Month, the month of February, to highlight and to pay tribute to the contributions of African Americans, but certainly the centerplex of our community has always been the African American church. We will continue to see the next video as we close out this month. They've got some more to share. They're airing on Channel 23. And I think they may be on some of the other platforms as well, so there's plenty of other outlets for folks to be able to tune in. And this month has, and Commissioner Washington said it at the beginning of the meeting, this month has really progressively moved forward, and we're here at the end. I want to make sure that we remind everyone, coming up in the month of March, we're doing the State of the County Address. That's on March 30th. We have 2 opportunities for you to participate. We're promoting that and encouraging you to come out at 6 p.m. At the Rockdale Auditorium on March the 30th for our annual State of the County Address, and we will get updates about where we are and where we're going here in Rockdale County. I will make mention, Commissioners, that during some of the meetings at NACO, when I made mention that we are focused at our new strategic plan on Reimagine Rockdale, I had a couple of folks say, hey, can I steal that from you? And it really has gone over well in being able to explain the future and the horizon of Rockdale. We have to acknowledge both the past and the present as we lean toward the future. And I think that's what Director Mims was talking about when she talked about the need for technology upgrades in the Public Relations Department. Whether we're talking about the Courtesy Parkway Bridge, the Sigmund Road widening project, any type of upgrades with parks and recreation. As George Kellercheck comes in here each week, he talks about the importance of us protecting our waterways and making sure that our stormwater management system is in place, and all of those upgrades in Rockdale County are on point, and that we're not just talking about them, Commissioners, but we're actually doing something to address. Now, I don't know, because I was out of pocket doing the info sessions, but Director Mims, come on up and tell us a little bit about info sessions as we close out this meeting tonight, and when the next one is coming up, and what was the participation like? Give us an update.
So thank you for asking. The first info session was February 15th with Director Barkley and Commissioner Tisla Smart Washington. It was a great info session. The next one will be, what are we in, March 15th in the auditorium at 6 p.m. So once again, those meetings will be streamed. Someone asked, though, why couldn't they see the PowerPoint presentation? Because Director Barkley used the PowerPoint presentation during that meeting. You can only see because of what we're experiencing now, and we had already advertised that we're going to stream the meetings. So if you're there in person, you can see the PowerPoint presentations. But unfortunately, if you're watching online via Facebook, you can't see the presentations. But that will be corrected by the time that we enter April for the meetings. So the meetings are being streamed to get more information. We're also showing these on Channel 23 as well as our YouTube channel.
And which departments will you be featuring in the month of March?
Super. So we will be featuring talent management and finance.
All right.
She still has
All
energy.
right. Very good. Very good. Very good. Well, I tell you, this is really good for our citizenry because they get a chance to get a behind the scenes, or should I say sneak preview, at what really is happening in each county department, the makeup of the department, who's running the departments, the contact information, and learn a whole lot more than what we can provide in a setting like this. You can get it in an info session. So we encourage folks to come out March the 15th, next door at the county auditorium. We'll be having another session of our info session featuring our talent management department and our finance department, and we'll be giving you detailed and very intimate information about how those departments work. So many great and wonderful things that are happening, and I have to give a quick shout out and plug to the City of Conyers, because they're doing some phenomenal work inside the city limits as well. As you know, we have a wonderful relationship with Mayor Evans and the team over at the City Hall. I want to give them a big shout out for the work that they're doing as well. It's so hard sometimes for citizens to distinguish between what's the city and what's the county. But we do have a mayor and we do have a city council, and they're doing fine work as well to make sure that we're all moving Rockdale County forward. Thank you to the Voices of Rockdale for assisting us with getting the information out and serving the gap doing this live streaming. Also want to say thank you to Dr. Jackson and her 2 junior bulldogs that showed up tonight. And thank you to Mr. George Kellercheck and CJ Lester. We really appreciate the report from the folks over at Viewpoint Condominiums. We're praying for them, and we're believing that things will work out in their favor as we continue to move forward. Any announcements, Executive Director Rutledge, because Chief Sanders is looking at me with that look. And I've seen that look before,
Yeah,
Chief Mack. I've seen that look
It's
before.
a hungry look.
Do you know it's 8 p.m.?
All right, well, you gave me the microphone, Chairman, so no, I have no
Mack
other
was giving you
updates.
that look.
Hence
No.
why I called her name.
Well, we did go over it, but I just want to reiterate quickly that there is a planning commission meeting tomorrow night at 6 p.m. I know that's out of the realm, but because of a advertisement issue, we have 2 planning commission meetings this month, and the second one will be tomorrow night, and it will be relative to the items that are Rockdale County related. And outside of that, no other announcements. I'm getting the glare.
Tomorrow night? I
Yes.
thought tomorrow night was the city.
No, the city held theirs on February the 9th, and that would have been the regular planning commission meeting date.
So
We
ours
split
is
them.
not on Thursday.
Yes, ma'am. So the planning commission meeting will be held tomorrow night at 6 p.m. The Board of Commissioners zoning public hearing will be held Thursday at 6.
I always get that mixed up.
Oh, yeah.
She was thinking about the hearing for the board to
Right.
attend.
Yes.
And that's different, Commissioner.
Yes, we still have to be
Yeah,
here
it's
on
definitely 8
Thursday.
o'clock, so. Anything else,
No,
Director?
Mr. Chairman.
Chief, did you have something? No. I felt it, you already said what you had. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for, is there any really need for executive session tonight?
No, Mr. Chairman, no.
Okay, for the record, I have to ask, anyway, have to ask that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and attention to the business of Rockdale County. This meeting is adjourned. Director Mims.